Well, folks, this is April 14th. We got the last bit of sap pumped up. Tasted pretty good, but the syrup is dark, and we got the stretch of very warm weather coming, and we also got some pretty good buds starting to swell on our trees here. So we called it the end of the season while we're still making good syrup. So our process here is to fill this evaporator feed tank with water, and that'll feed the back pan. Then we use this bottling pan here to feed the front pan, and as that draws down, we've got our sap that was in the rear pan in buckets, and we just keep feeding that, get it boiled down. And I'll show you some sheeting here, which is a good indicator of when we're getting close to syrup, when it starts coming off in sheets. So it'll drip a little bit, and then we'll start to get some nice sheets coming off there. So we have removed our bottling pan, and so it's just a matter of really watching this very closely, letting the fire die down just at the right time. Then we lift this front pan off, and there's not enough fire there to do anything. So we draw it off into the pail and then put our acid into warm water, non-boiling water, and let that sit overnight. Here we are back at it. We brought the tractor and trailer down. I'm neutralizing this acid with baking soda, and then we'll drain off these pans and get them all loaded up, get all our equipment loaded up to the house where we have running water to use the pressure washer, clean everything up real good, and we get it back down here. So we're drawing off all this neutralized water, and we'll get rid of that. Folks, so the grade cleanup has begun. We got our pans washed yesterday, ran the acid in them, brought them up to the house, pressure washed them. They're clean, ready for next season. Now I'm gonna fill this with water, put it on our stove, get that boiling, and we're gonna run the soap through the RO one last time. Well, we got the water warming up. So while that's happening, we're gonna go pull some spelts right out here. Pull our first couple spelts. We got some thunderstorms moving in. For the first time in history, we sugared off during a thunderstorm. That was on the 14th. Got our spelt puller here. We made one years ago and it was too thin and it bent. So this one here is probably 3/16 inches thick. So nice, heavy duty. If you needed to, you could weld a little piece of rod, a cut off bolt or something on the back here if you needed to get it out further from the tree, but this works good for us. So I got my apron on. We're gonna throw the spelts in there and then we'll count them when we're done and see how many we pulled. We got some daffodils going here. Some other flowers down there. So these are a two-piece spelt, as you may have seen previously. You got the spelt that goes in the tree, and then you got the stubby adapter that pushes into that. And you got to make sure that you don't tap the stubby adapter into the spelt too hard. Otherwise you'll have a pretty hard time getting them apart. As you see, this homemade puller works great. It does have a pretty short handle, so you either got to use a ladder or extend that handle one way or another for those that are up higher on the tree. Shout out to Leader Evaporator here. I highly recommend their two-piece spelts. They have redesigned them and they are way easier to use in that the stubby adapter releases a lot easier from the spout. Previously, they could be very challenging to get separated to where we actually moved away from them for a while, but this redesign has been very successful.